Hey, Patriots, you do realize 1913 might be one of the biggest years in America history, right? Now, before somebody starts polishing up their fact check button, just hear me out. Funny thing is, World War One kicked off in 1914, just 1 year later, but I'm sure that's just as connected as my lawnmower and the weather forecast is. So, what happened in 1913? Well, first out, the Federal Reserve was created. Now, despite the name, it's not exactly federal, and it doesn't exactly keep piles of gold sitting around like Scrooge McDuck. It basically is a banking system that controls the nation's money supply. But don't worry. I'm sure giving a handful of bankers that much influence over money couldn't possibly become controversial. Then we got the IRS. It isn't amazing how the same year the banking system arrives, the government suddenly decides it needs a much better way to collect money from everybody. What timing? You go to work, they create money, then you pay taxes on the money you earned, and somehow you're the one being told to budget better. Makes perfect sense. You don't think about it too hard. Then along comes the Rockefeller Foundation. Now, officially, it was about philanthropy and charitable work. And I'm sure that's exactly where the story ends. It's not like a powerful organization ever gained influence over education, medicine, science, or public policy. Nope, never happened before. Nothing to see here. Move along. Then you get organizations like the American Cancer Society coming onto the scene around that same period. Again, people will debate the role these organizations played and whether they've helped or hurt over the decades. But it's fair to ask questions. Questions are still legal this week, last time I checked. Then there's the ADL. Supporters say it's about protecting people on discrimination and hate. Critics argue it becomes involved in policing speech and public discourse. Depends on who you ask. Funny how every organization eventually ends up doing a lot more than what was printed on the brochure. Then 1914 arrives, World War One, and suddenly war starts looking less like something that nations try desperately to avoid, and more like something certain industries seem oddly prepared for. Again, probably just another coincidence. Apparently, history is made of entirely out of coincidences. Now let's back up one more year, 1912. The Titanic sinks, and here's where people start reaching for the tinfoil hats. Several wealthy and influential men opposed to central banking were aboard. Meanwhile, J.P. Morgan, who was expected to travel on that ship, canceled before departure. Now, does that prove anything? No, not even close. But it sure keeps people talking more than 100 years later. Let's stay locked and loaded.